All right, today we're cracking open an exclusive investment report that puts 12 of South Korea's most exciting startups right under the microscope. The mission? To figure out which one of these companies really has the secret sauce to become a billion-dollar powerhouse. So yeah, let's start the bake-off.
I mean, that's the million-dollar question. Or, I guess the billion-dollar question for any investor, right? We're on a high-stakes hunt for the next big thing in tech. And we're going to use a really tough, data-driven analysis to separate the truly promising from the pipe dreams. This isn't just about cool ideas. It's about finding real, actual, sustainable growth.
So where did we even find these challengers? Well, they were scouted from two of Korea's absolute top-tier showcases for innovation, the Student Startup Promising Teams 300+ and Preview in Seoul 2025. You can think of these events as like the perfect breeding grounds for groundbreaking ideas.
Okay, so what's really interesting about this first group is just the sheer diversity of it all. I mean, we've got everything from AI that makes videos for you, to little robots that deliver your packages, and even cultivated meat grown from, you guessed it, seaweed. It's a really fascinating mix of both hardware and software.
Now, our second group of contenders, you can see a very clear theme emerging here. They're all trying to reinvent the fashion industry. Just notice the words that keep popping up: sustainable, recycling, AI, 3D. All of these companies are tackling one of the world's biggest industries with some serious tech and a sharp eye on the future.
And here's the crucial point. These startups aren't just throwing random ideas at a wall and seeing what sticks. No, they are strategically positioning themselves inside some of the largest and fastest-growing markets on the entire planet. The potential upside here is just absolutely massive. So let's take a closer look at the playing field they're on.
So the report kind of groups these markets into four huge macro trends. You've got AI and automation, which is just completely reshaping creativity and efficiency. Then there's sustainability. That's basically a non-negotiable for modern consumers. Urban mobility, as our cities get smarter and more connected. And of course, health and wellness, which feels more important now than ever before.
Just to give you a sense of scale, let's start with Lion Rocket, that AI video company. They are jumping into a content creation market that's worth a staggering $135 billion this year alone. That is a massive sandbox to be playing in.
And that's just content. If you look over at urban mobility, you have Scalar Data working on EV charging. They're tapping into an infrastructure market that's projected to hit $186 billion by 2030. You know, the shift to electric isn't just about the cars themselves, it's about the entire ecosystem around them.
But honestly, even that number pales in comparison to healthcare. Blue Signum, with its mental health AI, is targeting a market that's expected to be worth an incredible $383 billion by 2030. The demand for accessible, easy-to-use mental health solutions is just skyrocketing.
But you know, it's not just about the size of the market. It's about the speed. Take Nubility's field, autonomous delivery. The report projects its compound annual growth rate at a jaw-dropping 52.1%. That's not just growth, that's an explosion.
Okay, so we've definitely established the opportunity is huge, but a big market doesn't automatically guarantee success, not even close. So now comes the really hard part. We've got to run these companies through the gauntlet. We need to see if their potential can actually survive the very, very real pitfalls of the business world.
The report uses 4 key criteria to judge them. First, is the idea truly innovative? Is it actually new? Second, is it relevant? Does the market actually want or need this? Third, can it scale up and go global? And finally, is the business model sustainable for the long run, against competitors and big economic shifts?
So to see these criteria in action, the report zeroes in on a few really fascinating case studies. First up is the AI video disruptor, Lion Rocket. The analysis compares it to Runway AI, which is a US company that raised $141 million doing something very, very similar. So right away, this shows there's a proven, high-value playbook for making video creation easier with AI. The potential is clearly there.
But, and there's always a but, here's the catch. On the one hand, Lion Rocket's model is super scalable with low costs, which is fantastic. But on the other hand, it is walking into a battlefield against absolute giants like Adobe and, yeah, the very company it's being compared to, Runway AI. That is a massive, massive risk.
Okay, now for our second case study. Seaweed, the cultivated meat startup. The parallel here is a name you probably know, Impossible Foods. That's a company that has raised over $2 billion by tapping into the exact same trend, the rise of the eco-conscious consumer. So that suggests seaweed is definitely on the right track.
But again, we see the flip side of the coin.
Seaweed's unique approach gives it a fantastic sustainability edge, no question. However, it faces these enormous hurdles. It has to get regulatory approval for a totally brand new food type and convince millions of people to actually, eat it. That is a tough uphill climb. So, after weighing all the potential against all the pitfalls, the market size against the brutal competition, the report finally reaches its verdict. It's time to see which of these 12 contenders actually made the final cut as top-tier investment opportunities.
All right, after all that analysis, all that pressure testing, which companies does the report say have the best shot at becoming unicorns? Who actually survived the bake-off?
And here they are, the top 3 picks. At number 1, we've got LionRocket, which we saw has that massive scalability despite the fierce competition. Number 2 is Blue Signum, which the report highlights for addressing a critical global need in mental health. And at number 3 is Nubiability, praised for its super cost-effective solution in that explosive last-mile delivery market. So, according to this analysis, these 3 offer the absolute blend of innovation, market fit, and manageable risk.
The report also flags a few interesting high-risk, high-reward bets. Seaweed could be huge, but it's for very patient, sustainability-focused investors. 119 Leo, the recycling company, that's a great fit for industrial investors. And AID Lab, while that's for the true believers in the future of fashion tech. Big potential, for sure, but also some bigger question marks.
So after going through this whole intense evaluation, what's the big lesson here? What's the one core principle we can really take away from this entire process of trying to pick winners?
It really boils down to this single powerful quote from the report's conclusion. It's almost like a formula for success. You need an idea that is genuinely different from what's out there, that can scale beyond its home country, and, this part is crucial, that has risks you can actually navigate and overcome.
And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. This whole analysis shows that being in a huge, growing market is essential, but it's not enough on its own. So when you're looking for the next big thing, what really matters more? Is it about betting on the huge wave of a massive trend? Or is it about betting on the unique team and technology that can actually ride that wave?